Good, right?
Yes.
How are you? My knee feels great. I have practice this whole week.
Are you all set?
Yes.
I believe I gave you my...
Yes. We'll get it back to
Okay,
you.
awesome. You're good.
Thank you. This is low. I know. I'm like...
And it was something... versus the basically you have to have two lines on the outside designating the thing. It doesn't say if it has to be or cost. It's just something that's not going to blow away or
Good. How are you?
Everybody hear me? Good? Well, look, hey, it's been a busy week. It's a busy day. I know everybody's time is really valuable, so we won't take too much of it. But I want to thank everybody for being here. This is another great day for Ole Miss and a great week. And so I want to thank everybody for giving us your time and to listen to what we have to say in a world that's very interesting right now. And everybody keeps telling me congratulations. I think you probably mean good luck. It's probably more important. But no, look, it's we wouldn't be here today without Keith, our athletic director, the university support. Today happened. We started this conversation amongst a big group of us back in the summer. I reached out to Keith early on just to pick his brain. I've known Keith a long time. I shudder to say that my math is correct, that it's 25 years. I wish my math wasn't correct. But Keith and I were student athletes here together years ago, and I have a great respect for Keith. And so when I reached out to Keith at first, when this idea started to kind of percolate, I wanted to know kind of what his thoughts were around NIL, what the athletic department was doing in this space. Because I'll be really honest with you, I did not have a great understanding of it. I had followed it from afar as a fan, and again, never dreamed we would ever get to this place, but thank goodness we had. I heard the things that Keith and his staff were doing with some of the partnerships we'll talk about, his support for this, and some of the things that needed to happen in the Ole Miss community for us to be successful in the world of NIL. And so again, I want to thank Keith, his staff, for the hard work, for the ability to do this, and look forward to working with them going forward. We have a large collection of our athletes here. We're here for you. And what you do for this university, this is a small way for us to try to help continue to give you the tools to develop, play the game and sports that you love, and go to a phenomenal institution. So I want to thank all our Growth Collective athletes. As you'll hear in a minute, that list will grow. We have some ambitious goals. We have about 55 athletes right now as ambassadors, but that list is going to grow. But I do want to thank the ones that took a leap of faith with us today. So I want to thank them for being here. I know they're busy. I also want to thank our Growth Collective board members. Quite a few are here today. We wouldn't be here without your support back at the beginning of the year when we started this endeavor, when William and Matt actually started this endeavor. And your support, but not only financially, but your guidance. All of you have been incredibly successful, both personally and professionally. And having all of you involved with us going forward was one of the reasons why I really jumped at the opportunity to be a part of that group. I do want to, it's kind of funny, we actually hired 2 people full time, and they're here today. Lauren, right here, who's a former track athlete at Ole Miss and figured out the NIL space on her own last year. And so we've just hired Lauren to help us. And Tyler Armstrong, I don't know where Tyler is, in the back there. So we have our first 2 employees. I don't know how we're going to pay them. We'll figure that out later. But our first 2 employees are here. And then I want to just take a second to thank William Liston and Matt McDonald. William and Matt raised their hand back at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and volunteered for this. They both have full-time jobs, being attorneys, running a law firm, and they did this out of a labor of love. And we would not be here today if it wasn't for the hard work. And oh, by the way, they weren't getting paid very much at all. And those guys rose their hand, stepped up to the challenge, put a framework in place, put a process in place, and they did it when really nobody really knew what was going on. And so, William and Matt, thank you so much for what you've done to get us to this point. We are so much further ahead than our competition in a lot of areas because of those 2 guys. So I want to thank William and Matt. And, I also need to thank, I'll get in trouble, I got to thank William's wife, Jeannie. Jeannie's worn a lot of hats for the... everything. It's truly a family affair with the Listons. Their daughter's a cheerleader here at Ole Miss, and so again, they did this out of a labor of love. So thank you to William and Matt from the bottom of our heart. How did we get here? I'm the last guy. I'll be honest with you, the last guy I thought I'd ever be standing up here talking about NIL. Again, I played back in the day when the free education and those type of things were great. They still are, but in a world that is unfamiliar to me. So I never thought I would be here. I also never thought that I've been lucky enough in some of my previous life working at Under Armour. I was fortunate enough to negotiate some really nice endorsement deals with Cam Newton, Jordan Spieth, Michael Phelps, Steph Curry, Bryce Harper. But this week I got the distinct pleasure to negotiate with the Chief Marketing Officer of Hollywood Feed a lifetime supply of dog biscuits for everybody's favorite canine, which, again, something I never thought I'd be telling people that negotiating dog. But here we are. Again, through the conversations, through the analysis, hey, this is a real opportunity. And that's kind of how I look at this and try how I look at everything is short-term challenges, long-term opportunities. And I think that's what this is. And the more I looked at it, the more I could see that there was a need for a better model in NIL. And again, having the board of directors that we have, these are all people that, number one, they love Ole Miss, of course. Number two, they have a great history with this university. But number three, they've been really successful professionally and personally. And having that collection, that brain power, and that resource there, I said, man, we could really do something special here. So through the combination of all that kind of stuff, again, my conversations with Keith and the support and the steps that the university has done in the NIL front, I knew that we could create a best-in-class model. And that's why we're here today, and that's what we're going to get into. Kind of the why. Why does that matter? Well, one of the first things that we all talked about was this is going to be 100% compliant and 100% legal by the NCAA and by the state of Mississippi. Unfortunately, I played football here for 4 years. 3 of those years were spent in the second worst NCAA probation since the SMU death penalty. That's why I had to play linebacker, unfortunately. I was a high school quarterback. I've seen the effects of what happens when things go wrong. And so I can assure you that we are going to follow the letter of the law. Everybody knows the state law was amended, the statute was amended. A lot of input from William on that, and we will follow that, and we will be compliant, and we will be 100% legal. We are not going to jeopardize the good name of our athletes or this university. So that's period, full stop. Secondly, we're going to create a sustainable structure. We're going to hire full-time staff. You just heard me introduce our first 2 employees, and we're going to spend money to make money. I really believe that an entity has to be sourced, it has to be staffed, and it has to be funded to be able to achieve its top goals, and we're going to do that. The infrastructure and the focus is going to be full-time. We'll have an office here in Oxford. It'll be staffed, like I said, and there'll be a full-time focus on everything that's going on. Because what's going to happen in NIL is going to twist, it's going to turn, it's going to amend, it's going to evolve. Different people are going to get involved in it. And we're going to be focused on 100% so we can be at the forefront and we can step over any pothole, we can make any turn we need to make, and we'll be really 100% focused on that. We're going to create a crowdfunding model. Part of the reason we're here today, and I'll get to it at the end, is a call to action. We have to have a reoccurring revenue model through a membership service. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but that is going to be a major focus, and that leads to the sustainability of this endeavor. We're going to bring regional and national partnerships to bear for our athletes. These men and women are going to be exposed to national brands you see on TV, group and individual partnerships. I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of people through my travels over the years, and it's kind of interesting now. Businesses that were not in NIL have now created programming and opportunities specifically for NIL, and I'll get to that in a minute. But these men and women are going to be the benefit of that. The need to consolidate. We had to consolidate. There were various collectives out there, 3, 4, 5 different collectives in the Ole Miss fan base. And that's one thing I promised Keith, is we're going to try to get everybody under one roof. Number one, risk mitigation. We want to mitigate any risk. Get everybody on the same page, a one-stop shop. We want to clear any of the confusion, misinformation. If you read about NIL right now, a ton of misinformation out there. We're going to try to clear that. We don't want our donors, we don't want our fans to be confused. And we're going to try to give them a clear understanding of what we're doing through consolidation. We're going to create efficiencies. We have to do things better than everybody else. We can't get into check writing contests. We can't get into numbers games. We have to be very efficient, and we have to make $1 spend like 3. That's how we've always been successful at Ole Miss. Being in the SEC, we know who we got to beat. These coaches know who they got to beat every week in and week out. So we have to be incredibly efficient, incredibly organized, and you only do that through consolidation. We have coordinated effort. We are going to work really hard so our donors do not get confused. Our donors don't get cannibalized. It'll be two separate groups, obviously, between the foundation and what we're doing from a fundraising standpoint, but there will be communication back and forth, which is something to keep us all on the same page, sharing of information as needed, but again, a separate endeavor, but some coordination there to make sure our fans and our donors don't get confused. And this one's really big for me. This is going to be an NIL solution for every athlete on campus, male, female, revenue, non-revenue, I don't care. Our goal over the next 3 months, we're going to sign a minimum of 1 athlete from every sport on campus. It'll be more than 1, but that's going to be our goal. I truly want this to be an NIL platform for every single athlete here. And I don't care what sport it is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to do that shortly. And then at the end of the day, this is a big one for me. Yes, it's going to be compensatory. We are compensating our athletes, but just as much it's going to be developmental. We want to develop these men and women and give them the tools. Hopefully they all go pro and play their sport for a long time, but if they don't, we're going to give them their tools of networking, how to run a marketing campaign, how to run a podcast, financial literacy, all the things that we can do, advisory services, all those things around them. And again, I'll get into some specifics here. But again, this is going to be very developmental. So an athlete from their freshman year, sophomore year is just a microcosm of what they'll be their senior year or their junior year with the tools that we're going to give them. I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to do this and some of the specifics that will set us apart, I believe. First and foremost, we reached out to the Oxford Chamber of Commerce, and we're lucky enough to have John Maynard here from the Oxford Chamber of Commerce. John and them realized the value of a successful NIL platform and the town and gown relationship. I love that. Town and gown. I love that whole thought, because people love Ole Miss, love Oxford, people love Oxford, love Ole Miss, and we would be really short-sighted if we didn't embrace the community. And through John and this partnership that we just struck this week, we will be a member of the Oxford Chamber of Commerce. It'll be an outlet for our athletes to do charitable endeavors, community outreach opportunities, anything going on in and around the community, any passions these athletes have, they will be at the forefront of our community here in Oxford. And I think that's a big piece. I mean, there's 700 plus businesses that the Oxford Chamber of Commerce supports. And if we can give our athletes a front porch to those, again, both profit, nonprofit, charitable, community endeavors, you name it, then I think we're doing something right. And the networking, obviously, that comes with that. So we are thrilled to announce this partnership with John and the Oxford Chamber of Commerce. John, I appreciate it. I promise you we'll be good partners, and we're really excited about diving into this with the local community. Next, and this is the first of its kind, these athletes will have a national airline partner, national travel partner. I mentioned a minute ago that a lot of businesses that weren't in NIL have created NIL programming, and this is one of them. We'll announce, I can't say the name just yet because we've got to finish one more little detail over the weekend. But essentially what this is going to be is our athletes are going to have a travel solution. Any athletes coming from afar that mom and dad want to come see them play. The athletes want to fly home for Christmas, for mom's birthday, a wedding, you name it. We want to give these athletes a travel solution to be able to do that. Oxford is not easy to get to. We love Oxford. We love it. Not really easy to get to sometimes. So we're going to create a travel partner for our athletes to travel home and their parents to come, more importantly, their parents come in and watch them play. So we're really, really excited about that. And also, too, this is two national brands, and they're going to do a group-wide activation with our athletes on a national platform because we're the very first to do this across the country. So our athletes will be exposed to two great national brands here shortly. Financial partner. We'll be announcing a financial partner as well. The bad news, all of you are now tax-paying citizens. So we're going to help you where we can with that. That's a good problem, trust me. But we're going to help you with that. Accounting, taxation, the last thing we ever want to do is create a problem on the financial side of this. money management solutions, whether it be opening a SEP IRA, whatever it may be, we will have a financial partner to help these men and women manage their money appropriately and avoid any sort of risk. This next part is about forward thinking and innovation, and I really think this is where we're going to win. I've talked about Keith. I think our athletic department has been incredibly aggressive and progressive in bringing in partners to assist in this space, and we're going to do the same. We've signed a deal with Brand R, which also has an agreement with Keith in the athletic department, where we can use our athletes in a group setting with the intellectual property rights of Ole Miss and their NIL rights. That's a big deal. That's going to, again, bring larger regional and national brands to come want to partner with the Growth Collective and our athletes because we're able to combine those licensing rights. So we're really excited about that. We're only the second school to be able to do that. Auburn was the first, we're the second. They're talking to 4 or 5 others, but we beat them to the punch. And again, being progressive, being the second out of 14. We just signed a deal, which we're going to release shortly, called Infinite Reality Marketing. And again, this is a bunch of stuff that I really don't know much about, I'll be honest. I'm 47, I think. And I don't know much about social media and content creation. I know a little bit about it. I know enough to be dangerous. But this group is a leader in athlete-generated content and content distribution. Our athletes put out great content. They can create great content. We're going to give them the tools to take this group and give them the opportunity to go to the open metaverse, which, again, it's a buzzword. Don't ask me to define it. Everybody tells me it's really important. But the open metaverse and the Web3 environment. And again, our athletes will have the ability to distribute, to create content, be the author of that content, and then distribute it to whatever audience they so choose. This is a group that's done this in Hollywood. They've done it for NFL. They've done it for the NFL. They've done it for the NBA and the NHL. And again, we're one of the first to partner with these guys. And there'll be more coming there. We'll put the press release out probably on Tuesday, which will give a lot more detail. I'm probably butchering the description of it. But again, the biggest thing is content creation and content distribution for our athletes, which is incredibly valuable for a lot of reasons. And then the last piece is we're going to have checks and balances internally from an audit trail standpoint and obligation management. Making sure athletes are doing what they are required to do, making sure they're doing it in a timely manner, giving them the resources to do it. They're very busy with school, with practice, with games, so we want to make it really easy for them to fulfill their obligations in a timely manner, and then us to be able to keep up with it, to report to the university in a timely manner, and for us to make sure we have proper reporting. So those will be some of the other things we're doing. And then the advisory consulting piece of this, I think, is really important. I was fortunate enough to be in the agency world for a few years. And we really want to be entrepreneurial in spirit. I think the entrepreneurial spirit is something that these athletes can really take hold of. It's their name, image, and likeness. And if we can give them the tools to continue to grow, then the sky's the limit there. And I think once, again, we announce some of these specific partnerships, you'll see kind of how this is all going to come together from a collaborative standpoint. M Club, I know Javon's here. And I think Jessica's here too. Hey, Jessica. I'm an M Club member, and we know the value of past and present letter winners. And so we're going to work really closely with Jessica and Javon to create that bridge with our M Club, because I think there's some really cool stuff we can do, both from a hospitality standpoint, from a brand marketing standpoint, from a content standpoint, with some of our past legends and obviously our present heroes. So really excited about working with the M Club on that. And then talked a little about Lauren earlier. We're going to be social media trainers, social media tools and social media training. Coming from a company that signed athletes, one of the first things we looked at was social media. We did a scrape of all social media. We audited all the social media of all our athletes and looked at it before we ever did a deal with any of them. So we want to make sure our athletes don't make any missteps. The content they're putting out is appropriate. It's engaging. We've got some software that we're going to announce that will help us do that. Lauren's obviously done a great job doing it herself, and so that's a big piece of it. And then finally, again, kind of the main reason why we're here is the call to action. Currently, we support roughly 55 to 60 athletes. out of 400 plus on campus. That's not good enough. We got to support more. We have roughly 300 total members right now for the Growth Collective. That's not good enough. We got to add more. Our goal is, and this is ambitious, we want to grow over the next year. We want to grow to over 250 athletes on campus. That's our goal. So we want to have tremendous growth across all our sports on campus. And we need to grow our membership to over 10,000 members. That's a big jump. I know it's a big jump, but it's the only way we're going to be as competitive as we need to be, and we need that membership. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But those are the goals for us, to increase our athlete count and to grow our membership. And if we can do those things, then all these other programs that come will just be just another benefit to being part of this Growth Collective. You know, we got to. This is the point where we all have to come together. I remember, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was 14 years old when Chucky Mullins broke his neck. I was in the stands. Remember it like it was yesterday. Sitting there, and just remember the hush that went over that stadium and the devastation seeing that young man laying on the field. And then fast forward 7 days later, we're playing LSU in Oxford and watching our fans literally pass buckets through the aisle and support Chucky and what he was battling with. And obviously, these are two different things. I'm not trying to make a comparative. I'm just trying to show the when we harness the Ole Miss spirit together. I got children right now. I just need to talk about it. That's where we win. Coach, Omaha. I mean, we all sit there and watch what happened out in Omaha and what our baseball team did, but the response that our people had. I'm not talking about the jello shots. Important. But being in Omaha and watching Rebel Nation take over Omaha and help play a big part in what Coach Bianco and those young men accomplished. And so I just think about that, watching that bucket get passed in the stands back in 1989 and the giving spirit from Ole Miss, and then watching what our fans did with Coach B out in Omaha. That's where we win. And, you know, I think that's really the main benefit of today. I asked our fans, I want to challenge our fans on a couple things. I reminded of a quote, Walt Whitman quote, be curious, not judgmental. And I think we're all victim of that. I know I was judgmental at first about NIL. I'll be honest. But I think curiosity is a great trait. And I ask our fans to be curious and to learn and to ask questions and use us as that resource. Because I promise you we're going to do it the right way. We will be great stewards of your money, and we'll be a great partner at the university. So be curious, not judgmental. That's what we need our fans to come together. It's easy to sit there and say, oh, I will never do that, I will do whatever. I'm asking you to give us a chance. All right? And ask questions. And I probably now, some of them we won't have answers to. As we know, there's limited guidance out there in some areas we may not have an answer to. But I promise you, we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to be in the forefront of that. I also ask for a little grace. We're not going to make every decision right. We don't have all the answers. We may have to move slower than you think we should. So I ask, for our fans to give us a little grace as we work through this and understand that this is a choppy space. I mean, imagine we're in a car going 50 miles down the road at midnight with no headlights, and we're trying to change a flat tire at the same time. That's a little bit of what we're dealing with right now. And so I just ask you to be patient with us. Know that we are committed to this. We're focused on this. But give us a chance to make sure we're doing things the right way. So I think those are really important. And again, the non-negotiables of being great stewards of your money. And if you hear anything else, I want you to just know this, that our goal here is to create opportunities, number one, for our athletes, if they don't exist, create them for them. Number two, enhance and develop them when they do have them. And number three, protect them. Protect the well-being of our student athletes. There are bad actors out there everywhere. We know it. But if we create, enhance, and protect our student athletes, man, we're winning. We're winning. So I'm going to kind of shut up now. I do want to tell everybody, please go to our website, thegrowthcollective.com. We were up till midnight the night before, tweaking things and getting it ready and making sure it's a good first experience for everybody. So I want to drive all our membership to go to our website, or all our fans to go to our website and look at the membership opportunities. Real fast, ladies, real fast. I just want to say thank you. They're leaving real fast. I want to thank all our athletes for coming. Thank you so much. I know you guys are busy. But again, go to our website, check us out. You'll see more and more information coming. We have a tiered benefit system. We have opportunities, for membership for every fan out there. Every fan, starting at $250 to as much money as you want to give. So we've got it all for everybody. And again, just go check us out. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we're missing something. I meant to introduce one more person here. Is Lynn Fitch here?
She didn't make it.
She made it. Okay, so I thought our state attorney general was here. That's bad information. Sorry. Anyway, I just didn't want to leave her off. But again, thank you so much for coming. This is a big day for us. Again, Keith, I want to thank you for the opportunity and the trust in us. I want to thank all the coaches for being here. Again, our athletes who are in attendance. I'm going to open it up for a couple quick questions before, I'm sure you guys have some questions for the coaches and possibly for Keith, but I'll open up for a couple quick questions and then we'll go from there.
How do you select, you said you want every athlete eventually, but how do you select them initially who gets the NIL?
All right, good question. How do you select your athletes?